Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. Today, I am going to share information on artisan bread flour. And this is important because I believe a lot of wholesale bakers going into producing artisan bread for food service, supermarket chains, events and institutions have very little idea on the flour requirements on producing artisan bread. Now, you can get away with a lot at the small scale level when you're baking 50-pound, 100-pound batches, but this significantly changes when you upscale it to 500, 1,000-pound batches. Okay, you will see a huge difference. And I want you to think about this before you put in any kind of dough conditioners or dough improvers. Look at your flour quality. Okay, so the reason why I am passionate about this is because I see a lot of bakers out there that don't understand this point of view. They were never taught in this school of cereal science or cereal chemistry. And I don't expect you to. You have a busy life. You were a baker. You woke up at 3 a.m. and, work till 3, 4 p.m., right? So those 12-hour days are really not conducive for any kind of further training, either at AIB or Kansas State. So here's the deal. You need to understand your flour quality, your artisan bread flour quality for you to grow and expand, because this is the easiest way for you to keep your product consistent without adding more dough conditioners than you already need to. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share my screen with you, and I am going to give you a glimpse of what we just published. And this particular paper on artisan bread flour quality is sponsored by Heartland Mills, and they support our belief that the more we teach you about your artisan bread quality, the better you're going to become. The better product quality that you're going to have, and the better baker you're going to become. Okay. So I am having problems sharing my screen, and I hope it's not because my computer is thinking, because it's giving me the circle. Yeah, it's giving me the circle. Okay, so it says it's live. All right, I am glad you see my screen. And as you know, artisan bread is becoming a big thing. And it's because all the millennials have traveled abroad, all the boomers have come back from their vacation in Italy, and they are all hooked on this new kind of bread. Okay. In addition, the sourdough baguettes and all those fresh perimeter breads are actually cleaner in label. So people are liking the labels, people are liking the texture, and more people are repeating their purchase for artisan breads. Okay. So what is it in artisan bread um, that is important? Okay. Number one, proteins. Okay. The gluten proteins within the flour provides the viscoelasticity to it, and the quality, in addition to the quantity of these proteins, will affect your water absorption and determine how well you bake with this flour. Okay, now if you add vital wheat gluten to your artisan bread formula, remember that it absorbs water nearly twice its weight. Okay, I would start with 1.4 and then go up to 1.8 in terms of water. 1 part gluten to 1.4 parts water, up to 1.8 parts water. Okay, try around there. Anyway, proteins, keep an eye on your proteins, and your flour supplier would be able to provide the certificate of analysis for the proteins for you. Okay. Number two, starch. Why is starch important? Well, native starch doesn't do much for you in the mixing process, so you don't really need to be concerned about that. What you need to be concerned about is the damaged starch. Okay, damaged starch is a byproduct of the roller milling process. So there is no such thing as zero damaged starch, but you are going to have some damaged starch, and it's going to actually help your fermentation process. But if you have too much damaged starch, then it's going to be a sticky problem for you. Okay? Both native and damaged starch gelatinization takes place in the oven in the presence of water, and starch gelatinization is what sets your baked goods and help with your shelf life. Okay, you can read more about damaged starch on Bakerpedia. Just Bakerpedia, damaged starch. Enzymes. I want to talk about this because not too many people are aware of this. There are actually amylases in your flour, okay? It's found in the endosperm, bran, and germ of the wheat kernel. It can be actually quantified by the falling number test. What is the falling number test? Follow the link on this paper and you will learn more about this particular equipment. Your falling number should be around 250. Some bakers do request a little smaller, maybe about 200. Some even request a little higher, about 300. And your flour miller should be able to work with those ranges by adding or decreasing the amylase in your flour. Okay, flours of low amylase activity should be supplemented with diastatic malt. Now, before you supplement with diastatic malt, you should understand your falling number first. Okay, and you must request that on your COAs from your millers. Okay, so we talk a little bit more about falling numbers here. The next thing you should consider is your brand. Your brand should be up to about 19% in whole wheat flours, but this particular thing brand should be down to zero or close to zero in your final high quality artisan bread flour. Okay. Um, the reason why it's included in the discussion is because many of us still love whole wheat flours and we need to work with whole wheat flours. But you need to know that it's up to 20% in your flour and you need extra time for soaking and you need extra time for fermentation because of that. The fifth element is ash. Look at your ash levels. For many artisan bakers, you can get away with a higher ash product because you are looking for something that has a darker crust, that has a off gray crumb, and ash levels of 0.55 to zero point 0.6 would be able to provide you with that look. Okay, so save you some money there. You don't need to get ash down to 0.45 to 0.55 because you don't need that whiteness in your crumb like you do in your pan breads and your hamburger buns, right? So um, don't be surprised. Some specialty flours may have higher ash levels in the zero point 0.8 to zero point 0.9 range. And this is good. This is good all around, even for your yeast fermentation. Okay, so high ash in artisan bread flour may not be a huge deal. Okay, Granulation. I would like to touch a little bit on granulation. It comes in extra fine, medium coarse, and extra coarse. Okay, and I would prefer a medium to coarse granulation because that gives me an earthier aroma. Okay, and a better dough to ferment with. That's how I feel about it. Okay, gives gives less damaged starch, but more character to the flour actually. And I wanted to point out, thanks to Heartland Mills, the sponsor of this paper, you can actually obtain organic artisan bread flour from Heartland Mills. Reach out to them on this link right here. Okay, what can you do if you're interested in evaluating baking quality of the flour? There are a couple of instrumentation methods that are included on here. You can follow the Farino graph or the Mixolab link to understand a little more about water absorption, dough handling properties, protein quality, and starch retrogradation. Right? Those articles will go in depth into your flour quality analysis. These are examples on what it would look like for your Farino graph parameters. And here is a comparison between artisan bread and your regular flour you use for white pan bread and hamburger buns. We also share a very common baguette formula, someplace for you to start. And we do encourage a push. And the reason why we do that is because natural fermentation helps with machining of the dough. It also helps with the aroma of the dough, and it will actually help you cut costs in your total formulation. Some of you know I am such an advocate for aged flour or oxidized flour. Okay, and this is the kind of flour you find in your flour sacks. Okay, and this is the kind of flour that you are going to graduate from when you graduate from sacked flour to bulk flour. So this particular topic talks about it a little more. Okay, we talk about processing baguette. I'll give you a whole formulation page about it. And then we go into artisan bread questions. Some of the questions that we come across on our website. One of the most popular questions that I would like to address is bakers keep asking me this question: is folding important? Because once you upskill your process, this is probably one of the things that you're not going to do, but I encourage you to do it. I encourage you to find an equipment solution that does the folding, and this is why. Folding naturally help increase the bonds within the dough. Okay, as the dough ferments, the proteins get weaker. Okay, and the way for you to get the proteins back to its strong stage, to its strength, is through folding and aligning them. So folding is a natural dough strengthening process. Okay, and if you skip this method completely, you are going to have a slack dough. And what do engineers know about slack dough? You want to put in more dough improvers to strengthen it, right? So you put in oxidizers, you put in gluten, you put in all this stuff, or you put in these other dough conditioning stuff. I'm like, no, stop there. Before you put in any more dough conditioners into your artisan bread, please don't forget this is a natural way of strengthening your dough, and that's through folding. Okay, so fold first before you add any more dough conditioners. All right, important. Okay, so I included a few more questions that are commonly asked of the artisan bread production process in this paper. So you know where to get it, bakerpedia.com/academy. And the answers are there waiting for you. I would like to thank Heartland Mills again for sponsoring this paper, because without Heartland Mills sponsorship, we aren't able to pay our writers and researchers to pull this information together for you. Okay, so um, shout out to Heartland Mills. Thank you for sponsoring this paper, and reach out to Heartland Mills if you want good artisan bread. Okay, we actually had a baker view on this last month. So if you want to look at that particular webinar, it's also available on our academy. But the paper just helps you freely share this information with your co-workers and your production workers to show them what it means to have good quality flour. All right, so that's all I have for Wisdom Wednesday today. Thank you for your time. I hope you have a great Wednesday, and I will see you back again tomorrow. I'll share some thoughts on Thursday Thoughts. All right, people, have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye.